Greetings, everyone. I am Julia Sunshin, and I'm currently serving as the president of the East District United Methodist Women. And I am the district representative to the board of directors of David and Margaret Youth and Family Services. I have been a member of the United Methodist Women for over 25 years and believe in the purpose and mission of the United Methodist Women, which is to empower children, youth, and women for their development and welfare. United Methodist Women and David and Margaret has had a union that shares such purpose and mission, and that union has been based on faith and trust, along with the caring and compassion for the welfare of youth and children. David and Margaret is one of 4 national missions in the California Pacific Conference, and as such, is a very vital agency in carrying out the core values of the United Methodist Women. So we are honored to have with us Mr. Bob Dalton, who is the president of board of directors of David and Margaret, and who has so kindly consented to have this interview regarding this very meaningful agency. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Julie, and it's an honor for me to be here, and I'm really pleased you gave me this opportunity to address a group of people I really have a lot of love and respect for.
Oh, that's so wonderful. So now, again, I want to thank you. And my first question is, what is your relationship to the United Methodist Church and the United Methodist Women?
Well, that's the easiest question you'll ask me today. So my answer to that is I've been a Methodist for many decades. I have been married even longer to a pastor, actually a retired pastor in the United Methodist Church. She's also been a professor at the School of Theology of Claremont. We're members of the Claremont UMC, and we have a very active UMW there, and I know those guys. I love them. They do really good stuff. So I'm very happy to be able to work at David and Margaret, which is a UMW agency.
So wonderful, wonderful. So you have very deep roots with the United Methodist Women and the United Methodist Church. And so I guess that my next question, which you kind of alluded to already, and how did you get involved with David and Margaret?
When I was in the process of retiring, a friend of mine said, there's this really good organization, and would you like to volunteer to be a part of that? So I said yes, and my first volunteering there was at the Joan Macy School. And I spent 9 years volunteering there, and sort of in the middle of that time, I was asked to join the David and Margaret board, and then more recently asked to be the president of it. So that's how that happened.
That's a wonderful, wonderful story, and wonderful connection to David and Margaret and United Methodist Women. So what is basically, or give me a brief history of David and Margaret and the United Methodist Women? How did that union really got started?
Well, it's really a wonderful story. About 110 years ago, there was a gentleman that lived in the town that we now call Laverne, but back then was called Lordsburg. And I think that's a really interesting name, the town of the Lord. And his name is Henry Kunz, and he perceived that there was a real problem with orphans in that area, that there was no social welfare net that we have today. And so he basically donated an old hotel that was his to what was then the Women's Home Missionary Society of the Methodist Episcopal Church. That's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah.
But as you probably know, that organization turned itself later into the United Methodist Women. And Henry Kunz later on donated more land, property, and building to David and Margaret. So for 110 years, there has been Methodist involvement in David and Margaret, United Methodist Women involvement in David and Margaret.
Well, that's wonderful. That history is really very meaningful for both agencies, and the generosity of Henry Coons. That's amazing, and for him to really be so caring about the orphanage and the social welfare. So, and you had mentioned that David and Margaret has been around for 110 years and it's been functioning for that long. How has it evolved from the early years to now, to currently? What's happening now?
Well, evolved is a good word. Back in the very beginning, the concern was orphans. Over time, that concern has undergirded everything we've done, but it's been expanded upon. So if you were to look at our website right now, you would find out that we don't deal primarily with orphans anymore, but we deal with children that are in the foster system. So children that have not had the advantage of a stable family life and have moved out of their original family home of necessity. And then we are an agency that does many things for them. One of the things is we may help to find foster parents for them. Another thing we may do is provide them an education through the Joan Macy School. We work all the way up to the age of 25 because we do have a program that deals with the issue of homelessness in youth that are technically adults, because in California, you're technically an adult at 18, but we don't think most of the children and youth that we know would be ready to enter life and be self-supporting and live on their own at 18. So we have what we call a transitional age youth program where we can provide housing, we can provide job training, we can provide education, all the kind of things. So basically, we are in many different areas that are trying to support people who don't get a good start in life and see if we can get them back on track in a loving, caring, and also instructive environment.
Yeah. Well, that sounds wonderful. And you know that the care is there and the emphasis on youth is there. So specifically, I know the United Methodist Women are into social action, and you had mentioned about young adults transitioning from the foster homes. Is there a particular service right now that is being focused on? I know there was some mention about helping maybe I think it was mentioned like a drop-in center that helps in providing skills and somewhere that the youth can go to. Bob, can you?
Sure. We have been developing, you're right, it's called a drop-in center. And that particular center is aimed at people who literally have no regular place to live or be. What that center will do when we open it, which we hope to be in the next month or two, will provide a warm and welcoming environment where you can come, you can get a shower, you can clean up, you can cook a meal, you can have access to a computer. Basically, the kind of things that aren't available to people that are living in the street or in a homeless situation.
Okay, so Bob, I have the next question for you. Why is the work of David and Margaret so important to our community, and what are some specific services that has helped the community throughout these years?
You know, I have to start for myself with the idea that all of us are responsible for all of us. That in a healthy community, we want to see every child succeed. And so the work that we do is creating success for children that don't have the same advantages as those who have come from normal, stable families. So I think, to me, that's the biggest one. But another one is clearly when people are able to mature, learn work skills, get an education, they then can become contributing members of the community themselves. And we have lots of stories of girls that have left David and Margaret and gone on. Interestingly, some of them become social workers, and it keeps a good cycle going. So, to me, that those are the kind of services to the community that really makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are wonderful success stories, and helping out with the community and with them growing up to be a help as good citizens themselves. So, now, what do you think is on the horizon for David and Margaret? Uh, you have expressed all the different services that you're doing now, and they're all so important and they're all so worthy. And so, in the future, what is on the horizon for David and Margaret as far as services and so forth?
Well, that's a really timely question for us, because we are actually going through a major transition right now, and we're asking ourselves the question, what do we do really well, and how can we do that better, and what is it that we want to focus on as we go into the future. I think clearly one of those is the issue of homelessness. And when we talk about homelessness, we're talking about the population that is 18 or older. But if you broaden that out a little bit, when we provide foster services or temporary residential services, as we do, we're helping out with homelessness. And I know that homelessness is like a major issue for California, a major issue for Los Angeles County. We want to be part of the solution to that. So I think a lot of our focus into the future is going to be on that issue, as well as sort of all the issues that surround that.
So, Bob, I want to thank you so much.
Thank you, Julie,
for giving your time and your comments about David and Margaret and the mission, which greatly serves the children and the youth and the young adults. And I look forward for the union of David and Margaret and United Methodist Women to continue on from generation to generation with faith, hope, and love in action. So
sort of here's to the next 110 years, right?
You're right. There you go. Yes.
If I could just put one more little thought in, right on our screen now, there is our webpage address. It's really simple, www.davidandmargaret.org. The website is fantastic, and it's also inspirational. So if people want to learn more, it's a great place to start. But if you kind of go through the website, you're going to meet people. You're going to meet some of our employees. You're going to meet people that have gone through our programs. There's just wonderful, and it's a very inspirational website. So I would urge anybody that's been listening to the two of us talk that wants to learn more, go check it out.
I think that's great. Yes. Let's check out that website because it has full of information, as you mentioned, Bob. And again, we're just so blessed to have you and the wonderful services of David and Margaret. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Julie. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.